Utama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from the Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 17, The Victory of Hiranyaksha, verse number 16. Tav Adi Daityo Sahasa Yajamana Atma Paraso Vavidate Amsasarena Kayena Adripati Eva Tva'adi Daityo Sahasa Yajamanatma Parusho Avidate Smasarena Kayena Dvipati Eva Tva'adi Daityo Sahasa Yajamanatma Parusho Vavridate Smasarena Kayena Dvipati Eva Tva'adi Daityo Sahasa Yajamanatma Parusho Vavridate Smasarena Kayena Dripati Eva To, those two, Adi Daityo, demons in the beginning of creation. Sahasa, quickly. Yajamana, being manifest. Atma, own. Parusho, prowess. Avridate, grew. Amsasarena, steel-like. Kayena, with bodily frames. Adripati, two great mountains. Eva, like. These two demons, who appeared in ancient times, soon began to exhibit uncommon bodily features. They had steel-like frames which began to grow just like two great mountains. Please repeat. These two demons, who appeared in ancient times, soon began to exhibit uncommon bodily features. They had steel-like frames which began to grow just like two great mountains. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are two classes of men in the world. One is called the demon, and the other is called the demigod. The demigods concern themselves with the spiritual upliftment of human society, whereas the demons are concerned with physical and material upliftment. The two demons born of Diti began to make their bodies as strong as iron frames, and they were so tall that they seemed to touch outer space. They were decorated with valuable ornaments, and they thought that this was success in life. Originally, it was planned that Jai and Vijay, the two doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, were to take birth in this material world, where, by the curse of the sages, they were to play the part of always being angry with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As demoniac persons, they became so angry that they were not concerned with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but simply with physical comforts and physical upliftment. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmidham Nina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabhidam Nena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dirati Svapadandiham Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Saguratam Sagana Vaganatam Vidam Dam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanam Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakavidamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpadrubhyascha Kripasnubhyevacha Titanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. Tav Adi Daityo Sahasa Vyajyamanatma Parushal Varidhate Smadsarena Kayena Adripati Eva. These two demons who appeared in ancient times soon began to exhibit uncommon bodily features. They had steel-like frames which began to grow just like two great mountains. So, the cursing of Jai and Vijay, and the appearance of Lord Vishnu, the statements of Lord Vishnu, and now here it is, they've become demons, and this is describing their appearance as they emerged as demons. There are two classes of men in the world. One is called the demon, and the other is called the demigod. So, interesting how there are so many different kinds of people in the world, but according to the Shastra, it's broken down into only two kinds of people in the world: demons and, well, demigods and demons. So one symptom of the demon here, it's described towards the end of this purport, they're always angry with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, why are they angry? Many reasons, but one, they don't like the idea that there is someone superior to them. The very idea of being a non-devotee or a demon is that I want to be God. I want to be the best. So when the one who actually is the best is around, then that's very threatening to your attempt or imagined idea that you're the best. Just like in that funny play, Big Fish, Little Fish, I want to be the big fish. Well, I'm sorry, little fish, but up here there can only be one big fish, and that's Krishna's right to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead is beneficial and wonderful for every living entity all over the universe. Bhuta Bhavana, he is beloved of all living entities everywhere. He is the root of the cosmic manifestation. By pouring water on the root of the tree, all of the leaves and twigs and limbs and branches and trunk become enlivened and happy. Whereas if a demon places himself in the center, then what the result is completely the opposite. Everything is miserable, everyone is unhappy, great injustice is there, criminality flourishes, all the bad qualities, arrogance, pride, conceit, lying, sloth, diplomacy, one after the other after the other. But those associated with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they develop all the good qualities of the demigods. No matter how qualified a man could be, if he's a non-devotee, he has no good qualities. So-called good qualities of a non-devotee are not good qualities at all, because they're being used in competition or in envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So devotees aren't bewildered by the false qualities of the non-devotees in terms of their having just a little tiny of the unlimited six opulences of the Lord, a tiny vibhuti of beauty, strength, knowledge, fame, strength, renunciation. So here, what particularly we're going to hear about Hiranyaksha and also his older brother, Hiranyakashipu, very, very strong, stout and strong. The two demons born of Diti began to make their bodies as strong as iron frames. We see how important it is for everybody to go to the gym and work out and have big muscles, and even women these days, and co-ed gyms, Prabhupada writes in one place, the demons, they create so-called sports like tennis so they could enjoy a subtle sex mentality, observing how the woman, or the woman watching how the man moves their limbs and like that, So this is certainly symptomatic of demoniac life. Simply concerned with bodily comforts, physical looks, physical upliftment. They were decorated with valuable ornaments. So we see people who are very vain on the bodily conception of life. They'll have a huge wardrobe if they possibly can, like 25 pairs of shoes, 14 pairs of winter boots, 15 pairs of summer shoes, this, that, the other thing, and it get to the point where it'd be so difficult for them to choose which one to wear. They'll spend like an hour in anxiety, dressing, makeup, on and on and on. Prabhupada writes in the 6th canto, where Narada Muni is instructing the Prachetas about this material world, how the living entity falls into the whole material existence, and there's the prostitute that dresses herself in many different ways to allure him. This is likened unto the uncontrolled mind. So Prabhupada says, we advise all such fashionable persons to give up all the so-called fashion in the material world and accept the one fashion of a Vaishnava with shaved head and tilak, thus keeping life very, very simple. So everybody's looking at their fashion and thinking that by dressing in, whatever particular way they fancy, or, those who are designing the fashion, and if something becomes a fashion craze, then monkey see, monkey do. Everybody's got to dress like this or look like this, You don't want to be left behind. You don't want to be considered a square. In the demoniac way of civilization, people are interested in getting a body constructed in such a way that when they walk on the street, the earth will tremble, and when they stand, it will appear that they cover the sun and vision of the four directions. Look at me. Here I am. See how beautiful I am? Completely the opposite of coming to see how beautiful Krishna, Radha and Krishna are. Again, anything in relationship to Krishna is benevolent and beneficial and wonderful. So the devotees, they simply put Krishna in the center and try to make him all attractive. So this idea of fashion and clothes and looks, we turn that rightly Krishna's fashion and wardrobe. Just like we have a huge room where there's so many dresses of Radha Govinda. So we don't need to have a huge room like that for our clothes. Can you imagine if each brahmachari had a room the size of that and those are all their clothes? You know how ridiculous that would be? And if when they walk on the street and they make the earth tremble and seem to block the sun and the vision of the four directions, if you're not overcome in awe and wonder and astonishment by that, then they become angry at you. Why are you not noticing me? Don't you know that I am the great I am? If a race appears to be strong in body, their country is materially considered to be among the highly advanced nations of the world. And we see how in history that is brought to bear some of the worst atrocities and human rights abuses. The Roman Empire, they're the best, the way they would torture people. Even just recently, the Nazi ideology, Hitler's Germany, they consider themselves the best race in the world, and if not, persecuting or in some cases trying to exterminate other races of people, they had a very derogatory and ridiculing attitude towards all the races in the world, even the British, Anglo-Saxons, Americans. They thought themselves superior. And of course the philosophy behind that is just simply imagination, but because they're demons, then there you go. And ultimately the result of that is those persons and their civilization will be vanquished without delay. Actually, when Hiranyakashipu was terrorizing the universe, the demigods wanted to know from Lord Brahma, what can we do? This is just so horrible. We're being subjugated by this demon. And Lord Brahma said that when he finally harasses his own Mahabhagavat son, Prahlad Maharaj, then the Lord will come and finish him very, very quickly. That place where the Brahminical culture and the devotees are offended, that group and their civilization would be vanquished without delay. And Prabhupada writes that the demons should take heed of this and take to the Krishna consciousness movement to save their society. So we see these things practically. If people don't become angry, we saw last week someone who was dressed in orthodox clothing of the religion that they purported to be in, and he just like was using curse words and shouting at the top of his lungs and straight to hell, you know. And the only reply that can be given to such people is that if you don't leave, you're harassing us, we're going to call the police, you know. So, but in his mind, he's thinking that he's completely righteous, and he's completely right, and we're wrong. Just like the demons, you know, you are not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ponjaraka, I advise you to give up the symbols of Vasudev, you know, and you should do the right thing and bow down to me. You can tell, Krishna said, you can tell to the messenger, you could tell your master that he is a complete fool and rascal, and I refuse to accept his instructions. And says more things too. So Krishna appears to Paritranaya Sadhunam and to Vinashaya Trituskritam. And as we're going to see, the killing of Hiranyaksha in the coming chapters, that this reestablished the entire universe in tranquility and peace. So ultimately, saintly persons are happy when an envious demon is killed, just like a snake, which is always concerned with biting and harming others for no reason whatsoever. So the demons who make all types of horrible plans, unbeneficial, meant to destroy the world, no one will be upset if they meet their demise. Any questions or comments on these wonderful subject matters? Only so much can be said about this.